Prison officers from Trinidad and Tobago seeking asylum in Canada. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Friday, November 3. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Ricardo Roberts. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Citing fears for their personal safety following the murder of at least 2 of their colleagues in recent weeks, prison officers in Trinidad and Tobago are seeking asylum in Canada. President of the Prison Officers Association, Saron Richards, says the officers and by extension their families no longer feel safe in the Twin Island Republic. And he says there is no indication that anything will change anytime soon. Richards says the Prison Association is going through what could be the only life-saving steps for its members and their families. He says he is disappointed in government's response to increasing attacks and murders of officers. Richards says the association has exhausted all its options in trying to meet National Security Minister Edmund Dillon, and he lamented that despite repeated assurances from officials, they are no closer to a meeting to address security concerns.
But when you look at this situation, you are not seeing any sort of indication that the Parliament, our ultimate managers, are up to the task in looking at the gravity of it and treating with it as it's supposed to be treated with. Prison officers is an arm of the state, right? And an attack on any law enforcement official is really an attack on the state. And if the state isn't pushing back, what the state is doing effectively is communicating a license to the criminal element to continue attacking and killing law enforcement officials in this country. And that has dire consequences.
Richards hinted that if asylum is granted, prison officers may leave en masse. He says the government should also look at providing licensed firearms to prison officers following rigid protocols.
Trinidad and Tobago has the highest per capita rate of prison officer killings anywhere in the Commonwealth. In Trinidad and Tobago, it is much easier to die or to be killed or murdered with impunity being a correctional officer than any other place in the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth is most of Asia, most of Africa, the Caribbean, half of North America. The Commonwealth is a very large space in the globe. And we have the highest per capita rate of prison officer killings anywhere in that space. If we were to take that research further, it could very well be that we have the highest per capita rate of prison officer killings anywhere in the world.
In other news now, the British Virgin Islands government has expressed concern about the treatment being meted out to 21 inmates from the British Overseas Territory who were transferred to St. Lucia in the aftermath of Hurricane Irma. Minister responsible for prisons, Myron Walwyn, said that during a recent visit to St. Lucia, he met with prisoners who complained about healthcare and food. But he said he was satisfied that the rights of BVI inmates were not violated and the issues raised would be addressed. Walwyn said the prisoners would return to the BVI once repairs at the prison there are completed. The report of a commission of inquiry into an alleged plot to assassinate President David Granger is recommended that punitive action be taken against several senior police officers in Guyana. The document was laid in Parliament on Thursday, and Public Security Minister Kem Raj said on Friday that while it had not yet been discussed at Cabinet, he had an opportunity to peruse it. In April this year, there were reports of a plot to assassinate Granger, and questions later surfaced about the investigative approach employed by Guyana Police Force. The Commission of Inquiry, which was chaired by retired Assistant Police Commissioner Paul Slow, also recommended the dismissal of Police Commissioner Silal Prasad and the reassignment of several officers within the Criminal Investigation Department. Ramjajan said he had some fundamental differences with the report, but he did not elaborate. but he also stressed that it was up to President Granger to decide whether the recommendations would be implemented. The Grenada government is accusing Florida-based company WRB, which owns majority shares in the Grenada Electric Company, of playing politics. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell recently told local media that he is aware of the company's dealings with a particular political party and another company and would expose them when the election campaign begins. Now, WRB has taken the Grenada government to the International Court of Arbitration over its decision to pass legislation to liberalize the energy generation sector on the island. The company claims that the government violated a clause in the sale agreement which gives WRB a 74-year monopoly in the sector. Dr. Mitchell says his government is prepared to fight the matter. GBN's Eugenia Peters has that story.
In May, Grenada Private Power Limited, GPP, the 50% shareholder of Grenlec, along with GPP's parent company, WRB Enterprises, filed a request for arbitration with the World Bank's International Center for Settlement of Investment Disputes. The purpose of this arbitration was to enforce the government of Grenada's contractual obligation to repurchase the 50% Grenlec shares that government previously sold to GPP. Since then, government sought to investigate the demanded repurchase value, which WRB said amounted to EC $176.65 million. Prime Minister Mitchell says the matter has now reached the International Court. He addressed the issue in a media briefing following the annual fall meeting of the IMF and World Bank.
WRB, as you know, took us to the International Court. So we are before the International Court, and we are going to seek justice for this country. And we are going to continue to expose those who sold off this country's rights for 74 years to WRB, who is insisting that that monopoly system that they receive in 1994 remain, which is totally, this is the only country in the Caribbean region we know of. Even in Dominica, where WRB is, there is liberalization for energy generation, not just electricity services. The WRB is now investing, the same WRB that refused to allow monopoly in Grenada is investing in Jamaica liberalized electricity system. But Grenadians must remain under their control.
However, the Prime Minister added that there has been another development, that of WRB interfering with Grenada's political process.
We have information, which will close it sometime soon, of WRB possibly attempt to interfere in a political process in this country. And another company involved. And it's no wonder every time a certain political group opens their mouth in this country, they support WRB and they cost the government of people of Grenada. And the other company has done the same thing. But we will expose them for what it's worth. The election campaign hasn't started yet. When the bell rings, stay tuned.
But WRB Enterprises has denied the allegations. In a statement issued on Thursday, the company said, and I quote, "We have never and will never interfere in any way at all in Grenada's political process. Our sole purpose is to provide the best electricity service possible to the people of Grenada." End of quote. The company said it has made no contribution, support or involvement in Grenada's politics or made any contributions to any political party despite having been approached by all. It maintains that it has always been steadily neutral in relation to Grenada's politics and over the past 23 years has transformed Grenlec from an outdated, undercapitalized and politically managed utility into one of the most reliant, efficient and best-run utilities in the Caribbean. Coming up in Caribbean Newsline, the Belize government commits to meeting a CCJ deadline to pay out over $80 million. We'll be right back.
The Caribbean, Antigua and Barbuda.
A warm welcome awaits you at our state-of-the-art VC Bird International Airport.
I must say that Antigua is in wonderful shape. 5 minutes off the boat and we're already in paradise.
Antigua was not that damaged by the storm as much as Barbuda was. The hotels are still open, the beaches are still clean, and the people are still friendly.
With Antigua, it's the people that really await you.
Hurricane Irma may have hit a little bit, but you can't even tell that it was ever here. The beach is wonderful. I'm having a great time.
Everything is just as we remember. No storm damage.
We're here and we're open.
And we're better than ever.
I do a lot of destination weddings, and I see weddings that could happen here, and they would be in love with it.
I can't say enough about how in love with Antigua I am.
It is one nation, two islands, and I'm loving it.
Do you want a real Barbadian experience with peace and tranquility? A home away from home feeling? Come and stay at Best E Villas. We offer 2 amazing locations to choose from, Prospect St. James or Christchurch. Plan a staycation for your anniversary, birthdays, summer or winter breaks, or any special event. Best E Villas is located in close proximity to our lovely beaches. Call us now at 246-425-9751 or visit us at bestevillas.com and make your booking for the best in villas.
Even when the water stopped raining hard, it was still coming up, and these was the times when they opened the floodgates.
I heard that they flooded on purpose some levees. I mean, did they warn you that that was going to happen?
No, ma'am, not at all. Like I say, we watched the news through the whole process, even as it was flooding outside and raining. We were still watching the news, just trying to see what's going on, what's the next step, what to do. At no time was they saying evacuate. At no time was they saying we're going to open levees. You might have to evacuate.
Belize Prime Minister Dean Barrow says his government will meet the deadline set by the Caribbean Court of Justice to pay over $80 million to Dunkeld International Investment Limited and the Belize Telemedia Employees Trust. The payment represents compensation arising from the nationalization of Belize Telemedia Limited and associated companies. Following the ruling, which was handed down in 2015, there were disputes over whether the payment had to be made in Belizean or US dollars. The CCJ ruled that the full payment is to be made in US dollars by November 10th, failing which the government will have to pay compounded interests of up to 8.34%. Prime Minister Barrow says the verdict leaves much to be desired, but the payment will be made in full by the deadline.
We are going to pay these people everything by November 10th, and so there will be no question of this 8.34% running. Already an informal approach was made to us to talk about the possibility of installment payments, but that's because then they would collect the interest from us. We will make one payment and be done with it, and that's going to be an end to the saga insofar as paying off for the nationalization of BTL is concerned.
Prime Minister Barrow said the government knew it had to make the payments and had set aside the money, but mostly in Belizean dollars.
We did, in fact, reserve a portion in US, which accorded with our sense of what the liabilities were likely to be, and that US amount is in fact deducted from the total US payments due to Dunkeld and the trust. And what I gave you are the balances after you make the deduction for the 20 and 5 million respectively in US currency that we had put aside. We will make the entirety of the foreign currency payments by the date given in the order of the court.
In Trinidad and Tobago now, as the United National Congress gears up for internal elections, party leader Kamala Persad Bissessar is sounding a warning to those within her party who oppose her. November 26th is the date set for the vote, which will be a straight fight between Prasad Bisessa and Vasant Barath. And the stakes are high. The winner will most likely lead the party into the next general elections. Akash Samaru of CNC3 News reports.
The party rewrote its own history. For the first time, the decision for a so-called snap election for the position of political leader was put to the National Congress.
Well, if that vote was any indication of the type of support both candidates have, then Mr. Barrett has a tough road ahead.
All in favor, please stand and raise your hand. You want to take a count? Anybody against?
Well, we learned later that day that some people were against the early election, but being in the minority, they felt too intimidated to speak up.
Also, supporters who were not in favor of this motion to be passed were not given delegate rights and were unable to sit under the tents. I ask again that the UNC hierarchy does the right thing in the best interest of the party.
But the majority made sure their choice for leader was known, and she turned the National Congress into a political rally, letting her supporters know that she's ready for general elections.
I am more experienced, and I am more than ready to take back government with your help. With your help.
And while Mrs. Prasad Bisessa spent most of her speech speaking against the PNM, she did have a message for those who are opposing her from the inside.
Because I will never, ever surrender this party to those who are bent on mashing it up and destroying it. Once a scorpion, always.
And while those who sat behind her again pledged their allegiance, despite rumors that they may be playing for both sides, the opposition leader said she has a bigger concern.
I need the support of the people, and that is what is most important.
A Jamaican doctor has been sentenced to 6 months in prison after trying to bribe a policeman. But Dr. Jeff DeFord has been offered $1 million in bail pending his appeal of the sentence, which was imposed on Thursday just over 2 months after he was convicted on 2 counts of attempting to pervert the course of justice. He had been charged with trying to bribe a policeman who had arrested 2 Surinamese men found in possession of $60 million in 2014. Evidence showed that Dr. Ford offered the officer 40% of the money if he released the men with the cash. Although his attorney urged Parish Judge Simone Wolfries to impose a fine rather than a prison sentence, the judge said the seriousness of the offense warranted a custodial sentence. And ahead in Newsline Sport, West Indies head coach hoping to retain the same squad that toured Zimbabwe for the upcoming New Zealand Test Series. Stay with us. Sport is next.
In a place where legends start, the beach is just the beginning. So live a little for the exhilaration and the colour of every moment, where time is and life is a spirited event. Immerse yourself in the culture, the music, the people, the island. Love Antigua and Barbuda. Embrace an experience that leaves you breathless, from cricket to sailing week to carnival and more. Antigua and Barbuda, the beach is just the beginning.
Grow your business or promote your event through the services offered by the Caribbean Media Corporation and CaribVision. Our distribution provides a platform on cable, terrestrial television, and websites. We cover carnivals and events from across the region. We can bring your event live and alive to the world. For music makers, program producers, businesses, we can expand your reach to in excess of 2 million households daily. Our other services include news updates to enhance your media products, studio space for program and development. We can facilitate the launch of new products and services and training. Contact us and we will help you unleash your creative ability, develop products and services, and provide the medium to watch them grow. Contact Loretta Skeet at cmccaribbean.com or call her 1-246-467-1044 or 1-246-253-3889. Call and book your carnival or event today.
From tiny tots to our seniors, hundreds of people showed up to experience the open day at the Kendall Farm School.
For the school children, it was an opportunity to learn about agriculture. Many of them toured the farms, crop and livestock areas. They also got to ask questions at the beekeeping booth and the artificial insemination station. The hands-on experience allows students to see the possible career opportunities in agriculture.
If West Indies head coach Stuart Law had his way, the 15-man squad which toured Zimbabwe would remain unchanged for the two-test series in New Zealand later this year. The West Indies will play in 2 test matches, 3 ODIs and 3 T20 internationals from December 1st to January 3rd, 2018. But they will kick off the tour with a practice match against New Zealand A at the Burt Sutcliffe Oval in Lincoln from November 25th to the 27th. The Australian told reporters that the current group retained from the England tour last August was developing nicely as a unit, and to make any changes would be disruptive.
Look, I've made it pretty open, pretty clear to the chairman, the selectors and the selection panel that, look, I think this group that we have together is worth working with. You know, it's a short turnaround between now and New Zealand as well. To bring someone else in, or a number of players in, would be, I don't think it'd be a great move in the sense that we'd have to start again with those players.
The test win was the Windies' 4th in successive series following a run of 11 matches without a single victory. They beat Pakistan in the last test in Sharjah last November and trounced them again in Bridgetown in the second test of the return home series in May before stunning England in the second test at Headingley last August. Law, who took over the unit at the start of the year, said those results reflected a gelling of the current side and performances would only get better if the unit kept together.
The players we got here, we're starting to make strides, we're starting to go forward. We competed very well in England, we won a test match there. We've now come to Zimbabwe away from home, we've won a series. I just think it'd be great if we could keep the same group of guys together. Those guys who have struggled, in the next test match, they might be our heroes. They got that sort of ability.
Fast bowler Shannon Gabriel has moved into the top 20 of the ICC World Bowling Rankings following his strong performance in the drawn second test against Zimbabwe, which ended on Thursday. The right armer jumped 5 spots to a career 18th to become the only West Indies player in the top 20 and the highest ranked from the region. New ball partner Kimara Roach also enjoyed movement up the rankings, rising 4 places to 23rd after claiming 5 wickets in the match. Leg spinner Devendra Bishu slipped 1 place to 22nd after getting 4 wickets in the second test. Meanwhile, West Indies wicketkeeper Shane Dowridge jumped 17 places following his 103 in the earlier week, which was his maiden test 100. The innings helped the 26-year-old Barbadian rise to 83rd in the batting rankings. Captain Jason Holder, with whom Dowridge shared a West Indies record 8th wicket stand of 212 in the second test, rose 5 places to 57th following his 110, his second test 100. Opener Kieran Powell, who struck 90 in the game, is now 63rd after climbing 5 spots, but fellow opener Craig Brathwaite, previously the only West Indies batsman in the top 20, fell 3 paces to 21st after scoring just 32 in the Caribbean side's only innings. Still in cricket, Gavin Tong proved there was life left in the old man, yet with an incisive spell of fast medium swing bowling that catapulted Leeward Islands Hurricanes to a stunning innings and 4-run victory over Barbados Pride in the Digicel 4-Day Championship on Thursday. Tong collected 6 for 21 from 12 overs, finishing with match figures of 9 for 26 as the Pride were bowled out for 116 in their second innings. Ashley Nurse hit 8 fours and 3 sixes in the top score of 67 from 71 balls and 1 3/4 hours stay at the crease, and was the only Pride batsman that reached 20. Jamara Lewis was the player of the match for a memorable all-round performance in which he had Nurse caught at long off to end with 3 for 43 from 10.3 overs and match figures of 9 for 112 to follow up a crucial first innings half-century earlier in the day. Now, the result meant that the Hurricanes gained 19.8 points and the home team earned a meager 3.6 points. Switching sports now, the quintet of Rene Kwao, Lalonde Gordon, Jaron Solomon, Marcel Cedeno and Jereme Richards have received the Association of National Olympic Committee's Best Male America's Athlete Award on Thursday. The men were honored with the prestigious title following their success in the 4x400 meter sprint at this year's World Champs in England. Caston Cupid of CNC3 Sports has the details.
The best male athlete from the Americas 2017 is? No, he isn't. They are 4x400 meters relay team members from Trinidad and Tobago.
That historic race, which was etched in the hearts of TNT nationals worldwide on August 13, 2017, got even more significant, as that captivating performance got further recognition with this prestigious award. All 5 team members were present to receive. Spokesperson for the team was Jaron Solomon.
This is a great honor, and this is why we do what we do. First of all, we'd like to thank God for this honor, because without him, none of us would be up here tonight. Next, obviously, we want to thank ANOC, for this prestigious award. It's something that we've dreamt of, and this is one of the biggest honors from Trinidad and Tobago that we've had in the history. So to be recognized for it is wonderful. We'd also like to thank our families, our coaches, everybody who supported us all the way, to get to this moment, because without them, we wouldn't be here as well.
With the season over, their thirst for success is not even close from being quenched. The goal is to continue success from 2018 onwards.
Keep our throw to be the top in the world at Commonwealth Games, and then looking forward to 2019 and 20. We want to stay to be the world champions, and eventually 2020 continue to be the Olympic champions. So, it's always, our goal is always to be the champion.
And that's the sports. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
My focus is immigration. I've been criticized for it a little bit, but I feel a passion for people who've already been deported from the United States, and they're helpless. Some of them have no way of, really living the life that they've lived. They've left families behind, children. And so my goal is to try to do whatever I can to do them. So since as early as 2008, I started working with deportees, and I came down.
Again, the major developments of this day, citing fears for their personal safety following the murder of at least 2 of their colleagues in recent weeks. Prison officers in Trinidad and Tobago are seeking asylum in Canada. And in sport, West Indies head coach hoping to retain the same squad that toured Zimbabwe for the upcoming New Zealand Test Series. That's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sports round the clock, log on to CanadaNews.com. We'll be back here again on Monday, but from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching. Have yourselves a good night.